If you're under 22 years old, it's actually riskier to not take that big risk that you're thinking of. And what I'm specifically talking about is running a business. Now, I chose that risk and I'm so incredibly glad I did. When I left school, I was 18 years old, completed school, got literally passing grades because I was just focusing on little businesses at the time. I've run about 7 over the last 5 years or so. And then now for the last 2 years, I've been running a video editing business full time. And that's for podcasts, YouTube videos, short form videos, ads, things like that. And I'm so incredibly glad I took that risk because when I was in school, they're talking about, okay, so what uni are you going to go to? I remember specifically we had like a careers day, something like that. And then they asked me what I wanted to do. I said, run a business. And then they said, but no, what uni do you want to go to? And I'm so incredibly glad I didn't do that because the risk that I took of starting a business would have never paid off. So I've kind of gathered a few points in my mind that kind of back up what I'm trying to say. And hopefully it allows you to take that risk without being a retard. So the first big thing is if you fail, the worst that can happen, you're probably living with your parents. So you get a little bit of debt if the business goes badly, and then you still live with them. Worst case scenario. I think anything older than that, anything over 21, 22, I mean, maybe you're already paying the rent, then it's like you've got a bit of risk there. But realistically, most people can move back into their parents' home. It's not the end of the world. Point 2 is uni is always going to be there. And that's usually from the people I've spoken to and from my own problem is that it's either, am I going to go to uni? Am I going to get a trade? Whatever. But uni is always going to be there no matter what, as long as you can kind of get into it, which, I mean, here in New Zealand, they're letting in most people in with any type of grade to get in. So as long as you can do that, you're going to be fine. You can get in. If everything goes to shit, what do? You just go back. And arguably, if you're trying to go down this business route, it's a greater risk to go to uni because, and this is all from my situation. I mean, there's tons of other situations where it's maybe the opposite. But from my situation, currently, I'm watching people finish uni and then they've got their degree after 4 years, whatever it is, and then they're struggling to get a job. And it's like if you're going to uni or college to get a degree in business or I've seen entrepreneurship, and then you're learning off people who aren't entrepreneurs, you're 4 years behind compared to everyone else who, when they finished school, they just started a business. And that was the case for myself. I was starting it in school, and then the first one really took off after school. And then that was that. It was, I have 4 years of experience ahead of everyone else when they're stuck. And the final point is that if it all messes up, you just do what everyone else is doing. That sounds so incredibly arrogant, but worst case scenario, you just get a job like everyone else. It's like what you literally just move in with your parents, get a job again, and then maybe try another business. So when I left school, I I wanted to go down the business route, didn't have a clue what I was doing. And then, or the type of business, it was kind I've run 7 in total, and kind of it's gone from drop shipping, NFT trading, content creation, all that. And then I was kind of in the SMMA route and then was trying to do that, moved on to video editing, thankfully. But it came to a crossroad where it's like, okay, I'm good at 2 things from creating content. I've learnt the skill of video editing, or I've been in shape all of my life. I started the gym at 11. So it was like, could either go left to be a fitness content creator, which I hated the idea of, or could go down the business route and go down the video editing route, which, I mean, they're both business routes, but you know what I mean. And then from there, don't know where I'm going with this. Yes. So from there, I just had a job, so I had a bit of cash flow, I was scrubbing dishes, and then that funded everything I needed to. And it was literally, I just did that until the business worked and I could go full time. And then the full time mark for me was when I made 6K New Zealand a month. So that's, I don't know, maybe 3.5, 4 US. And then that was like, okay, right, I've got enough income where I can sustain myself and then quit. And to be honest, with the job, I was earning about 250 New Zealand dollars a month, which is, or maybe that was a week, but either way, not much. And then it was like quitting that job. So it's about, I don't know, maybe 600 US dollars. And then it felt incredibly risky at the time, but it's like, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. I'm kind of just waffling at this point, but I think at the end of the day, it's a bigger risk to not take the risk, especially at this age, kind of under 22 years old. It's like, worst comes to worst, it's not that bad. You just do what everyone else is doing and continue. It's like nothing real bad is going to happen. But yeah, appreciate you listening if you made it to the end. But yes, have a good one.